Welcome, you guys. Good morning. Welcome to CSLDallas, a center for spiritual living, where we are all about being radically inclusive, spiritually progressive, and transforming lives. Whether you're brand new here or you've been here forever with us, you're part of our tribe, know that we love you, we see you, and we are so grateful that you're here with us today. To learn more about all that we have to offer, check us out on CSLDallas.org.
And let's remind you of a few things that are coming up. First of all, Wednesday nights is starting again. I'll be starting in the meditation chapel. I'm really excited about that. 10 people are invited to register to be in the room, socially distanced and masked. And we have a new Zoom link for you. We'll be doing a meeting Zoom. And we will not be Facebook Live posting it so that we can have a deeper experience and do a deeper meditation. So please do register on Eventbrite, and Ryan's putting all the links in there for you. Also, we have, for those of you who are going deeper into your classes and you've taken foundations and are ready to dive a little more deeply, let me invite you to the class Ernest Holmes, His Life and Times. You want to be extraordinarily inspired by a life that has lived these teachings, as well as go deeper into the teachings yourselves. You're going to want to be in this class. Join me, Ernest Holmes, His Life and Times.
And I am teaching a class, a brand new class that is being brought out from Centers for Spiritual Living. It is called Mental Equivalence. If you truly want to know how to manifest great things in your life, you actually have to understand the law of mental equivalence, what it's about, how to use it, and what is this thing we talk about called mental equivalence. You do not have to have taken any classes before, and it's going to be not only for someone who hasn't studied the science mind much, but for the people that have as well. Mm-hmm. So join that class. Also, if you want to truly hold a vision for your life, for your business, for your family, for anything, there is a class taught by practitioner Carol Merlot that is exceptional. It's called Visioning. Yeah. It's based on the spiritual technology that Dr. Michael Beckwith brought forth. It is truly a profound journey.
And let's talk about another spiritual practice called meditation. So many thoughts come up when we hear that word. So we're going to talk about it. We're going to have a class taught by our very own Dr. Peter. Meditation, getting started, going deeper. Starting January 30th, 1 to 4 p.m. Taught by Dr. Peter I will be there, so hope to see you there too. And then also on January 31st, we have Keys to Expanding Consciousness. What is consciousness? What does it mean to expand your consciousness? You guys, you've got to check out this course. So it's taught by our very own Reverend Patty and Bibi Gafour, our newest practitioner.
Great. And that class is especially for people who are brand new to the science of mind and CSL Dallas. If you want to explore a little bit, take your first key.
Love it.
Yeah, and this is the time where we invite you to open up your hearts, to open your hearts to the flow and the givingness, unabashed givingness of life itself. Allow that givingness to flow through you into this incredible community, CSL Dallas, for without your givingness, we would not be here. And so for all of you that have continued to support our community, especially during this pandemic, thank you. All gifts are so honored, so appreciated, and put to their highest potentiality. There's several ways in which you can do that. You can go to csldallas.org/give. You can donate through our in-fellowship process online. You can donate through PayPal. There's also a text giving number. So there's an abundance way for you to be abundantly blessed by your givingness.
Thank you.
Make a quiet place within my heart, and I will wait upon the Lord. Wait upon the Lord. I will make a quiet place within my mind, and I will wait upon the Lord. Wait upon the Lord. Be still, my soul, be still. Be still, my soul, be still. Be still and know. I will make a quiet place within my life, and I will wait upon the Lord. Wait upon the Lord.
So as we move into this time of being still, we'd like to take this opportunity to acknowledge the events of our nation. We used to light a candle, and it seemed like we were lighting a candle so often for things that were happening in our country and around the planet. And we've not lit a candle for the pandemic, for COVID. We've not lit a candle through the Black Lives Matter protests. And because we've been pre-recording all of our services. But now that we're live again, it gives us an opportunity to be much more current and present. And so today, we are going to light a candle. We're going to light a candle for our nation. Light a candle for democracy. Light a candle for the ability to disagree civilly. A willingness to recognize that it is in the diversity of our opinions and our lives that we are strengthened, but not through violence and not through hateful rhetoric. Most importantly today, we want to light a candle for the power of words. We used to say as children, sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt me. And what we have learned over the course of these last weeks and months is that this is not true. This is simply an outpicturing of what we know to be true in the science of mind. We use our words because they are spiritual power. It is our words that create reality. Those words that we use with emotion, with belief, whether true or false, those words matter. And the words that we use create our future. So today we light this candle to the power of our words, spiritually grounded, deeply embedded in the truth of love, of oneness, of healing. Words of civility, democracy, finding the middle way, learning to speak across boundaries and barriers, words that matter. Won't you join me as we go within? And as we move into that still place, we use these words to recognize that one infinite love, to recognize that one infinite reality that is the truth of being, to recognize the impulse of life that is forever seeking to pour itself in, through, and as creation, that is blooming and flowering in all of the multiplicity of life itself, in the gardens and forests, in the fields and cities and towns and nations, in the oceans, in all of the ways in life shows up. Spirit is expressed. Love is seeking to be experienced. Truth is revealed. And that life is forever creating. It is forever creating out of the impulse of itself for more life. And that life is my life and your life and the life of all people and the life of all beings. Every place, every person, every being is a place where life is seeking to express. And so this morning, collectively, I shape our future with these words. I realize that love is the impulse, and that there is a universal power that is forever creating. And I use these words to shape that future. A future for a rich and powerful democracy. One that is big enough to hold our differences, true enough to the ideals and aspirations of our hearts, and forward-thinking enough to build a nation that is sustainable, whole, healthy, abundant for each and every person, each and every life. I accept nothing less than this truth as it pours through the minds and hearts of every leader, every politician. May each heart be lifted and blessed by the possibility of a future that is brighter and fuller and richer than we have ever imagined before, that does in fact include all in ways that we have not even imagined. I use this word to shape a future in which disagreements are handled with civility, with interest, with curiosity, and with possibility. I shape a future in which civility and communication and shall we even say love, are present in our politics, in our politicians, in our laws, in our government, in our businesses, in our corporations, in our leaders, in our families, in our own lives. This is the future I shape for each of us with these words. And I recognize that there is a universal power and a presence and a law that knows how to do this, even if I don't, even if we don't. And I allow that path to be made known. I speak for the wisdom and intelligence of the universe itself as it pours through every mind and every heart, bringing awareness, consciousness, and revealing a greater possibility. And in doing so, we become a nation that brings heaven on earth in its truest possible sense. Everyone, all beings, held in respect, in love, in care, in support, in flourishing and thriving lives, intertwined in ways that we cannot even imagine. And I accept the creative impulse that explodes across the minds and hearts in a whole new way, bringing peace, prosperity, and possibility. Because I know these words matter. I know the law has already begun to manifest this truth for each and every one of us. With deep and profound gratitude, I release these words now as they take their place in the co-creative process. I accept it as already done. I let it be. And so it is.
Be still, my soul, be still. Be still, my soul, be still. Be still and know. I will make a quiet place within my life, and I will wait upon the Lord. Wait upon the Lord. I will make a quiet place. I will make a quiet place. I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. I am opening. I am opening. I am opening. I am opening. I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. I am opening. I am opening. I am opening. opening. I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous light of the one. I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous light of the one.
Yes. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Oscar. Thank you, Lainey. Thank you, Candy. Thank you, Ban. That's all right. Oh, yes, I am opening. I am opening. I trust that you are as well. We are opening this year, 2021, with our new annual theme, Together We Rise. And we're opening up with a focus on a few things in the month of January about this annual theme. So the first one that we're focusing on is Together We rise through spirit. So this is where we start. This is where we begin. It's the appropriate place to begin this year. For as individualized expressions of love, of life, of light, spirit is always and forever present. It's always right here, wherever we are. It's omnipresent. And living this truth has carried us through. And now is the time for it to actually carry us higher, to raise us up. The awareness of the one infinite reality and the creative spiritual nature of this reality opens our minds, our hearts, our life to this cosmic consciousness. And it enables us to have a deeper trust, a deeper faith, a greater belief, and a place from which we stand in every single moment of our life, especially as things feel like they're coming at us, hitting us, and about to knock us off our point. I don't know about you, but I have felt that a lot already in 2021. Life is attempting to knock me off my point. So experiencing oneness, we talk about oneness a lot in this faith, philosophy, way of life known as the science of mind. Experiencing oneness reminds us that our purpose here in our life is co-creation. That is our purpose, is to be that co-creation. Together, the microcosm, and the macrocosm. Isn't it interesting? Like I'm using a little thing to represent the micro, and then like my arms can't even get to anywhere close to the macrocosm. But when this co-creation of the micro and the macro is taking place consciously, it's like there's this whirl of a dance, this joyous dance of being and becoming, of forever spinning in this potential, the potentiality in the possibility, then spinning the possibility into actuality. And actuality in the expression and experience of that which we are, of that which it is, love, life, light. So, microcosm. The microcosm. We are the individualized cosmic order. Think about that. Think of yourself right now as the individualized cosmology, cosmic order, that which is everything. This macrocosm, it's the ultimate reality. It's the most potential and potent force in the entire universe. In fact, it is the only and all potential and potent force, period. So in this co-creative process, we are to expand this idea, this awareness, this thought, this experience that we each are having, this idea to expect to find ourselves the microcosm, an exact as exact can be, miniature reproduction of the macrocosm, God. And it's not a reproduction like some kind of close representation of it. It's the real thing. So maybe reproduction isn't even the proper word. Sometimes we have heard in our lifetime that we are each a child of God. Well, that would say that, quote, we are an offspring of God. That's actually not true. You see, I recently, in teaching the metaphysical teachings of Jesus, I discovered that for women, 50% of the DNA of each of us comes from our mother and our father. For men, the DNA comes 51% from the mother and 49% from the father. Maybe that's why some men are called mama's boys. I'm not sure. But we are not offsprings. We don't have some of this thing. We are all of this thing. Jesus said that first the Father works and now the Son works. In all of his teachings and that of the great mystics, you will find this theory that the thing which impregnates everything, whether it be human or a cosmic atom, it is God, it is spirit, it is life itself, it is the universal presence. We don't officially have a book of the month this month, but I do. I have a book that I am reading this month that I am taking up, and it's working me. And so I want to share some from it today with you. It is late in the life of Ernest Holmes' writings. It actually is late in the life of Ernest Holmes speaking. He gave a series of lectures each Wednesday night for 6 weeks, and it's called The Beverly Hills Lecture by Ernest Holmes. I really encourage you to read this book if you haven't. And if you have, pull it back out like I have, because I'm not the same as I am now as I was when I first read it. I'm going to share a few things from this book today. He writes, all of the great teachings of the ages in presenting spiritual truths have described the nature of the life principle, which is God, as a circle. As a circle. It's part of our teaching symbol. The only thing that neither beginning nor end. It's the only thing that has no beginning or end. In this, it describes infinity. The ancients used to describe it as a snake in the form of a hoop, the snake with its tail in its mouth. Because the serpent was the life principle, like a seamless garment, a ring. Look at all this symbology already. Rings, wedding rings, we use rings. A garment, we've heard that in the Bible. The snake eating its tail, right? They represent it as a three-headed serpent. The serpent of the earth, the air, and the sky. The Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, as we have today. And it was the serpent who talked to Eve and tempted her. In the allegory, Eve stands for the feminine, or what today we call the psyche, or subjective part of us. It receives the suggestion, and when the suggestion has been assimilated, the object or atom is said to have impregnated it. So we find that Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness on a cross. The cross stands for the tree of life, its head in the sky, its feet on the ground, its arms outstretched to shadow the earth. The ancients had an inverted tree or cross whose roots were in the sky and which flowered on the earth. This symbology, these notions have been around for eons, and yet they've changed through time, some of this symbology. It's what it means to have in our teaching symbol the descent of spirit into matter. That's what this little V, descent of spirit into matter. An individualized creative center, unified with the whole, must go through the process of evolution and self-discovery and never lose that one valuable thing, the whole cause and purpose of its creation, which lies in the innumerable individualizations of cosmic force. That's who we are. We are these innumeralizations of the cosmic force, yet we're rooted in the unity of it all. We're flowering into this multiplicity of all of life. He even quotes Emerson here. He says, to quote Emerson, we find unity at the center and the multiplicity at the circumference. One mind common to all individual people. The ancients called it the great unconscious. He says, I suppose in a similar sense, the solar energy is caught in the atom. Think of this. The solar energy is caught in a little atom. It has always been there, but it was never exploded until the evolutionary process perfected some intelligence that knew how to loose it. This cosmic energy, think of it in the atom. And it waited until there was something that have evolved enough that knew how to loose it. That is us. That's who we are. Wow. Take a breath. We are these innumerable individualizations of this cosmic force. That is who we each are. And again, we are rooted in unity because that's the only place that we ever can be, is in this one thing. Because there's only one thing happening here all the time and everywhere. And that is God, Spirit, the thing itself, as Holmes used to like to call it. Now, Ernest Holmes in Science of Mind claims no originality. In fact, he borrows for almost all the originality. But it stands on this assumption that truth is not a personal thing, but it does belong to the one who uses it. So how do we use this in our life? How do we use this truth in our life? We must use this truth that I'm speaking of in our lives. And by doing so, when we use these truths and put them into play in our own lives, it shall lift us up. It shall rise. And this is where I'm guessing, you're not here, but this is where I'm guessing you might go, but Karen, how do we use this? How? Well, before I get to any how, I got to keep emphasizing the what. That this macrocosm and this microcosm is the same thing. Bear with me. The ancients taught, and we teach, that the universe is spirit, soul, body. That's our teaching symbol: spirit, soul, body, conscious intelligence, infinite presence. Yet you can't tell where the body leaves off and the mind begins. It is, as Einstein says, energy is mass in fluid form, and mass is energy in the solid form. He has given us a great scientific approach. So I'm speaking to the scientists out there. A great scientific approach to our own philosophy, because we say that the manifestation is the thing manifest in the form of what it does. We don't say that thought operates on an object. We say that thought operates as an object. That is a great distinction. Einstein doesn't say that energy energizes mass. He says energy is mass, that they are equal, identical, and interchangeable. If someone says it is all mind and manifestation, that would be a philosophy consistent with Einstein's last equation. At any rate, here's the reason that God is the I am. And I am is a statement of the verb to be. We are a verb. We are in action. I am, to be. Moses said that the word of life, the word of power, is in your own mouth. The ancient Upanishads, the Vedas, the Bhagavad Gita, it taught these things. These were things that Gandhi studied. Lift the rock and you will find me. Cleave the rock and there am I. That's in the Gospel of Thomas. God is in everything and through everything, making everything what it is. We believe that, and every great thinker who ever lived believed it. So there is nothing in modern psychology or modern science that disputes what Holmes is sharing through me today. This is your own nature. This is who and what you are. You are spirit, soul, body. And there is something within you that is acted upon, as a result of which something happens to you. This I am is the statement of the verb to be. This is what we are to know, truly know. To truly know this, each of us in our own lives, in each moment of our own lives, to believe this to the absolute highest potentiality available that is within each of us. And that's a mighty highest potentiality that already resides within each of us. Again, the ancients have been saying this for thousands upon thousands upon thousands of years. I am that which thou art, and thou art that which I am. So there's no need within our own selves to dispute the truth. There's no need to dispute even that tiny little voice that attempts to tell us this ain't true. There's no need to dispute all of the ancient wisdom, all of the ancient experience, all of the prophets, all of the teachers who have come before us. It's up to each of us to embody this, to know this, and to believe this. I am that. I am. And as we each do this and expand our belief, our awareness in the place from which we come from, we truly rise. We must rise greater from a place from which we are standing right here, greater from a place in a moment's notice when we need it most to rise through spirit.
I'm so grateful that there are songs out there about rising. I have not written one yet myself, so I call upon those who have written them before me. This one's by Katy Perry, and it's called Rise. I won't just survive. Oh, you will see me thrive. Can write my story. I'm beyond the archetype. I won't just conform. No matter how you shake my core. 'Cause my roots, they run deep. Oh, ye of so little faith. Don't doubt it, don't doubt it. Victory is in your veins. You know it, and you will not negotiate. You'll fight it, you will transform. 'Cause when the fire's at my feet again, and the vultures all start circling, they're whispering, you're out of time, but still I rise. There is no mistake, no accident. When you think the final nail is in, well, think again. Don't be surprised, I will still rise. I must stay conscious through the madness and chaos. So I call on my angels. They say, oh, ye of so little faith. Don't doubt it, don't doubt it. Victory is in your veins. You know it, and you will not negotiate. You'll fight it, you will transform. 'Cause when the fire's at my feet again, and the vultures all start circling, they're whispering, you're out of time, but still I rise. There is no mistake, no accident. When you think the final nail is in, well, think again. Don't be surprised, I will still rise. Still rise. Don't be surprised, I will still rise.
Woo! Thank you, Lainey. Oh, wow. Yeah, some of those words are so profound. Those vultures that are circling are those voices inside of me that when I forget, I just doubt. I just doubt that I can get through this, that I can do this or whatever. And I have to remember how to use this. I am the microcosm of this macrocosm. So how does one use this truth? How does one use this knowledge, this awareness that the ancients have been talking about for millennia? Well, I don't know how you use it, but one of the ways I use it is when those vultures start to circle, and they circle a lot in my daily life, I go immediately to the macro first. That's the place that I turn to. And I begin to remember everything that I know that macrocosm to be. And it helps me in a lot of situations. When I am exhausted from the weeks or the days or the months or not enough sleep or something happening yesterday or that I didn't expect or whatever, I go to the macrocosm of spirit is inexhaustible energy. Oh my gosh, it just doesn't ever rest. This universe is alive and awake at all times. And I go, that macrocosm of inexhaustible energy, I am that. I am inexhaustible energy right here and right now. And that moves me through the next few hours. And sometimes that's what I need most, is to get through the next few hours. I use the macrocosm when there's some sort of feeling of restriction or constriction when it comes to like money or abundance, or I go to the macro. What do I know to be true of this? There is no lack. There is no limitation. I use this constantly in my life. I recently used this awareness of the oneness of life itself when I'm a new grandmother. I didn't have children, so for 9 months now I have this baby granddaughter. I also have a 7-year-old granddaughter that I love very much, but this little infant that I've not ever dealt with little baby infants. And as we are helping take care of her on certain days, there are times where I don't know how you parents do it. I don't know how you did it. I mean it. I got all the respect and honor for you in the world now. I'm a better minister, because especially single parents, my goodness. Because there have been times I'm like, she's wanting something and this is happening and the phone is ringing and that someone's binging me. And I'm like, and all she wants is what I can give her right there. And I have to turn to that infinite potentiality, possibility, infinite intelligence, and moving in divine right action all in that moment to feed her, to do this, to whatever. And I got a really tough lesson this past week. That's still rocking my world. It happened a week ago. Since I became a minister here at CSLDallas, and that's almost 7 years now, there's been a constant thing that Petra has said. She said, Karen, it actually doesn't matter what you do. It's the presence and the energy from which you move from and be. And I remember that as much as I can, but I don't succeed in that all the time. And a week ago, there was some stuff unexpected happening here that I was just not able to do what was being asked of me. And the copier wasn't doing what I was asking it to do. And it was getting intense inside of me. And I was rattling. And this energy, it's all energy, but it's how we show up as this energy in all these different forms. It was brewing in me pretty bad. And Petra comes in to the workroom up there, and I had my back to her, and she was talking, and I'm like, please just let me finish this and fix this printer. And she said something else, and I turned around with all this negative energy, and there it was. God, life itself, the universe expressing as Arya in her arms. And what Arya reflected back to me, this look of terror, the scared, frightened little baby that she knew me well, who doesn't harm her, but that energy in that moment was being reflected. It cracked my soul wide open. And I've been using this how to bring me more grounded in my presence, because the macrocosm is that place of peace. It is that place of boundless love. It is that place of faith and trust that all is well. So I have to constantly remind myself of this. But the difference is, for me, I don't doubt this that I'm speaking of today one bit. Not even an itty bitty bitty micro atom bit. My last reading from this book today. Because this is for our lives and for the sake of everyone's life, because it's only one life. The whole thought and idea of war would disappear from the human consciousness if there were enough people who understood the principle we're talking about and used it. If we understood what I'm talking about and used it, the world would solve its problems because enough divine guidance would come down into the intellect and the emotions. The solution lies in spiritual awareness. Spiritual awareness to us is the conscious interior awareness that we are one with the divine presence, the source of imagination, illumination, inspiration, intelligent guidance, and the consciousness that there is such a divine presence, that there must be a universal spirit and mind which we use, and an awareness that there is a law of mind and action which acts mathematically, mechanically, but intelligently, having no purpose or intention of its own, but apparently following the consciousness, which he puts in parentheses, mostly unconsciously, directs it. The awareness that each one of us individually has access to intelligence as spirit and to the reactive creative intelligence as law is the whole basis of our teachings. You see, we are the dance of the macro as the micro. We are the place in which it consciously shows up. We are that place where the verb is to be that I am, that it is. I really trust that we don't doubt the power and the presence that each one of us is, and we use this power and presence for good once and for all. And so it is.
Yay. Thank you, Karen. Thank you so much. I really, I was really moved by that. We talked about it this morning, the anchor of spirit as me, as a way of grounding ourselves. We talked about that in our Science of Mind class, how important it is to have that kind of anchor. So hopefully that will be something that you take home with you this week, put it into practice. We do invite you now, if you choose, after this service, after this celebration, we'd love to invite you to fellowship. We have a Zoom link that Ryan, I'm sure, is providing for you. There's an opportunity for a fellowship, as if you were in our fellowship room, to have a cup of coffee, to see each other, chat, talk about what you heard today. There will be a facilitator in the room, just somebody to help move the conversation along. But most importantly, we want to be able to see each other. So join us there. If you've been activated or you have something going on in your life that you would like to have some spiritual treatment for, the other option for you is to jump into the practitioner room. Our spiritual licensed practitioners and spiritual coaches are available to you after the service, after the celebration right now. Actually, yeah, right now at 11:30, perfect timing, to do that spiritual work with you. You'll be put into a private room with a single person in which to have a conversation and receive the spiritual mind treatment to help resolve the situation. So join us after the celebration in either case. We look forward to seeing you. And we look forward to seeing you in our classes on Wednesday nights and in our future events. Thanks for joining us today. Go home this week and remember that we rise through spirit. So let's join together as we sing our celebration to a close.